some farmers and some people who were too proud to do that. But they were customers of my dad, and my dad was chosen as the person to distribute these commodities to these people. Their name was on a list with so many pounds of butter, so many pounds of cheese, and whatever. And the proportions were so tremendous that Dad didn't give them all they were supposed to get, because he knew they couldn't use all this stuff in 1 week. They got it, I think, on a weekly or bi-weekly term. But Dad, what he would do was, he would take some of these commodities that he hadn't given to this one person, he'd put it into some other person's box, they were too proud to say, you know, I need help. And so he gave a lot of this. He just kind of decided who needed the stuff, and he distributed it themselves. He decided how much they needed. The county didn't know. So he did that for years. But another touching thing that my dad did was that during his funeral ceremony, there was a lady working in the kitchen in the church. And she came up to me and she said, "I will never forget your dad." She said, "I was young and I was pregnant and I was not married. And he came to the door one night and he knocked on my door and he said, 'If you ever need any help, you call me and let me know.'" And I thought that was really something, but I thought, I can't imagine my dad did that. I can imagine just going up and telling this girl that, but I don't even remember her name or anything.
I know my classmate.
Was it Bev Olson? Okay, I don't know Bev, but I heard the name. But I thought that was very touching. Quite an unusual couple. My dad and my mother.
Bev, somebody who's older than me, but Bev Johnson. What's her name? Huh?
What was it, Grandpa, that you learned Sue, the other Sue, is that for business, is that why you learned it?
And he knew enough to converse with the Indians, and the Indian people liked him. He sold them a lot of their machines.
I mean, years later, I mean, when we would repair old wringer washers, Grandpa and I would take them up on the reservations and give them to the different Indian families up there. And so, you know, as people get new regular washers, and they get in exchange the old wringer washers, Grandpa and I would fix them up, clean them up, get them working again, and then take them up to different Indian families.
Just give them away.
Just give them away? Or
As far as I know.
Yeah,
I mean, he may have sold some, but
Yeah.
we'd haul up a couple at a time.
Great recycling program.
I mean, we'd go into these houses and install them. Wasn't much to install them, but, you know. I mean, some pretty rundown places. I can't imagine that they were buying them.
No, I don't think so.
My mother always would wash her own clothes. We always had hired help in our house, always, because my mother worked all the
She
time.
was the only woman in town who worked.
Yeah, she
In
worked
those
with my
days,
dad.
women stayed home.
Yeah, but she worked, but there was some things she did. She did the washing. Never the hired girls. She'd hang the clothes on the line, and then from then on, it was up to them to take them off the line, iron, and so on. But another thing she did was, she always did the noon lunch. And our noon lunch was that was our dinner. And we would go to school and then walk down to the store. Mother would send me over to the butcher shop to get some meat. We'd all rush up to the house. She'd fix a complete dinner for us. And then we got back to school. And then probably my dad would call and say, "Where's the missus?" And of course, she was getting dinner for us. But we'd get back to school, and I think school started then at 1 o'clock. We all went home for lunch. Nobody was in the schoolhouse at lunch, except a girlfriend of mine eventually. But she was such a worker, but there were some things she did. She did the cooking for many years, and then we got an older lady who was really a good cook, and I think Mother let her get the lunches for us, but we always had hired help taking care of us. We didn't. All the years I was living in Preschel, I do not recall my mother making a cookie. She made the desserts and she did the cooking, but I don't remember ever making a baking powder biscuit or a muffin or anything like that. It was just our meals and a Sunday dinner for us every other Sunday, and the other after family.
about like how did they end up with, you know, what church, what denomination, and why, or even like going back. Like, were they, you know, were they Christians in Lebanon?
Yeah, they were the Christians.
They were Christians.
Yeah, they were,
But then
that
they
was
came
the
over-
difference. Yeah, they were the Christians.
But they came over to South Dakota, and what? So
I don't know, I think they just chose a church.
Just-
I really do,
you think it was just?
yeah.
I think probably the closest Eastern Orthodox was maybe Sioux City, Iowa. It was.
It was Eastern, or it would be Eastern Orthodox if they had.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So then, but there was Methodist.
And I think that's just because we had a Methodist church in town.
Same Chevy Love pickup that Grandpa did, and one time he came out. He told me this. He says, "I came downtown. I came out to get in my little Chevy Love pickup, and there was Grandpa sleeping in the front seat." That same exact car.
What was Abner's favorite snack? I put Post Toasties down.
I did too.
Yeah, it was, every night.
I said pie.
I thought that was just ours.
Well, that was,
The combined family.
But Grandpa lived to be 105, but isn't it true they didn't eat a vegetable in his last 50 years or something like that? It was baked potato. I remember before it came out with he'd be like a
he
baked
was
potato
very,
bucket.
he was very health conscious before people even thought of
He
it.
was.
Well, he thought he had an
He
ulcer.
ate only baked potatoes.
Yeah.
toast. Didn't you like toast?
He never ate any luncheon meats or hot dogs.
We lived 103.
My dad, yeah, but he thought, my dad thought he had something wrong with him. So he doctored around our area. You had to go 50 miles any direction to find a doctor, but they didn't tell him anything, so he went to the Mayo Clinic. And he got a clean report from them, but he still wasn't satisfied. So he came back home and he eventually went to a doctor someplace, Chamberlain or Mitchell, I don't know where. And they said he had an ulcer, and Dad was satisfied. So from that day, he never ate a piece of fresh bread. It was always toasted. There were some things he never ever ate. He didn't eat watermelon. He didn't eat lettuce. I mean, he had such a limited list of things that he ate, you wouldn't believe it. But he lived to be 105, so I don't know.
So was it 105? What was the age he died? 104. Oh, we don't know, do we? We don't
Was he
really
really?
know.
Do we know how old officially was he when he died? I thought it was 105.
We think he was very close. If anything, maybe a year younger. They didn't keep records, but as far as people could help him, so. I mean, he's very close. He was very close.
To what?
They didn't know his exact birthday
105.
because they
To
didn't keep
105.
good records. But it was very close. In 104, not 105. But
I used to have to wait down in the store every Saturday night when they were working, and I would get tired. And I remember one summer he said, "Don't you go near those watermelons." And I remember I sat on a watermelon and I busted. He started after me with ice water. Yeah, Mama protected me, but I always remember that. That's the only time I remember my dad got angry at me.
But I'm going to tell you, we never got spanking.
Thank you for sharing with us. It's really, really important to all of us, and our kids to hear this. And you will all continue to feel free to visit, but I think if anybody else needs to go to the bathroom or whatever. No, but thank you so much for sharing. It's very important and special to all of us.
And Dana, thank you for doing all this. This was very nice.
Really,